there and welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here. We have started a new series called Practical Proverbs, and these are going to be just really short nuggets of wisdom from the book of Proverbs to help you live your best life, because the Bible is full of practical advice, practical wisdom that we can learn how to utilize in our lives to really just be the best person that we can, to really use the time that we have on earth wisely, and really just grow into the mom that we are capable of being, and really the sister, the wife, the mom, the friend, all these hats that we wear to be the best that we can at all of them. So today I want to share with you some tips on how to be an organized mom. Now this is going to be short and sweet. I'm going to give you some actionable steps that you can take right away to be more productive, but be more organized mostly, because we don't want to be that person that is always forgetting an appointment or always running late, never having clean clothes, always missing appointments, those kind of things. We want to be organized, and I'm taking this lesson or these tips from Proverbs 27:23, and it says, "Be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds." So this is funny because my husband and I call all of our children our herd. You may not be a sheep herder, but I want to encourage you to think past that, just those specific words, because what it's really saying is that you are wise whenever you pay attention to the state of your affairs. So whether that is your home, your work, both probably, your kids, your elderly parents, whatever it is, be paying careful attention to what God has placed in your hands, because we're responsible for what we do with what we've been given. And anytime that you are more organized, you are really taking those tips and paying attention to what God has given you and really trying to do your best at it, God's going to give you more. Another thing that we want to avoid is this idea of, looking like we're not organized. In Luke 14:28 and 30, it says, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, 'This person began to build but wasn't able to finish.'" So we don't want to be that person. We want to be organized, and really we're not building a tower, but how would you feel if you committed to something, you scheduled an appointment, and then you had to go around and change it again? This is the same idea. People are going to look at us and think, you know what, they started something they weren't able to finish. We don't want to be that way. We want to be organized, and that's going to help us to be calm, to be more calm as mothers, as spouses. And I'm going to give you 5 tips to be more organized that you can take right now and start using. The first is to have a digital calendar. Now, I love paper, I love writing, but having a calendar that's digital really changed my life. Once I started getting it off pen and paper and really started putting it into my phone, somewhere that syncs up to everything, it just changed my organization. Not just for my schedule, but for my entire life. So I actually use the iCal app, but I have everything linked to my Google account. So I'm able to share calendars with other people, and I love having multiple calendars. So I think right now I probably have 5 or 6 calendars, and I have them different color coded, and usually on my calendar I can see them all. But if I want to just focus on one area, then I just uncheck all the other calendars except for the one I want to look at, and I'm able to see everything that I need to see. So right now I have our regular calendar for our home, so that might mean dentist appointments or certain scheduled things. I have another calendar that is for our work. So my husband and I own a business, and we have employees that sometimes have to be gone on certain days, or we have events that are happening on other days. So I have one calendar that's specific to our business. Then I have a calendar that is called What's for Dinner. So as I schedule items on this calendar, it's usually what each meal is. And I also, one thing I like to do with this calendar, and I wasn't going to mention this, but it seems really good for being organized, is I like to make recurring events in my calendar, and especially for my meal planning. So if I have something planned for that week, I might put it to recur again, maybe in 5 weeks or 6 weeks. And that way, 6 weeks down the road, and I'm trying to think of what to make for dinner, I already have some ideas that have been scheduled around those dates. I don't hold myself to those specific days, but I might drag things around and move dinners around to fit what's in our schedule. But it gives me something to start off on. It gives me some ideas, maybe foods that we haven't had in 5 or 6 weeks, and makes it easier for me to stay organized. Another calendar that I might have is a goal calendar. So if I have specific goals that I want to reach by a certain time, I'll put them on a different calendar. That way it's only for my eyes. I can keep track of things, and I also like to track where I was. So say I wanted to run a marathon, and on a certain day I hit an all-time high of 16 miles that I ran. I might put that in my goal calendar. That way I can look back and see the progress that I've made. We also have another calendar that's specific to our foster kids. So right now my husband and I are fostering, and our kids have tons of appointments. And I like to know specifically when those appointments are, obviously, in my calendar, but I like to have them on their own schedule. That way I can look specific only for those events. So your life might not look like mine. It probably doesn't, but I'm sure that you have different areas of your life that you need a calendar for, and that's what makes the digital calendar so nice. Plus, you can add people to it. Make sure to add your husband to it. I didn't add him to mine for quite a while, and finally it was just not working out. Had to make sure to add him to it. The second thing you can do to be an organized mom is to tell your kids your schedule, their schedule, the whole family's schedule. Let your kids know what's going on. Because if you forget something, I guarantee you, your 8-year-old will remember. If your child is anything like mine, I could forget something and he will remind me. But if you give them their schedule in the morning, or even the night before, you can say, okay, now, Johnny, you have a dentist appointment at 3 o'clock. Remember that I'm going to be picking you up, Mary, from school at this time. Whatever it is, you prepare them for their day. So they're not completely surprised and just taken aback whenever they have to go into the dentist, but they know what's happening. They know that there's a schedule happening. They're not going to ask to have a friend over if they know they have a dentist appointment after school. Those are things that you can just stay on top of, help your kids to stay on top of by just communicating their schedule to them. The third thing you can do to be an organized mom is to get help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. And it might be more affordable than you think. So if you need some help, maybe having someone quickly come in and clean your home one morning a week, something like that, get some help. And if you can't afford that, get your family to help. It's okay to delegate things to your kids. It's okay to send your kid to throw out the trash. It's okay to have your kids clean out the dishwasher, all those things. We have, right now as I'm recording this, we have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old that empty the dishwasher every morning. I make sure not to put any knives in there. Obviously, I make sure to be careful in what I put in the dishwasher, but every morning they know that's their chore. They work together, they get it done. Things like feeding the dog, switching the laundry, all those things are things that you can delegate. In order to keep your mind focused and being organized, get some help. Number 4, clearing clutter results in mental decluttering. So if you find yourself really stressed and anxious, look around at your environment. Look at your home. Is it full of clutter? Are your countertops covered with stuff? Start to declutter the things in your life that every time you look at them, if it's stressing you out, then get it out of there. Don't keep causing more clutter, mental clutter, by just leaving stuff hanging around. Because a lot of times, and I'm just going to use the counter as an example, but a while ago, several years ago, probably now a decade almost, but I started to clean off my counters. I didn't have a lot of stuff on there because it seemed like the stuff that was on the counter was just magnets for other stuff. So if a table is completely cleaned off except for maybe a pretty centerpiece, or your countertops are cleaned off except for appliances that you use all the time, you're not going to be attracting more papers and trash, shoes, whatever it is. I don't know about you. Hopefully I'm the only mother that comes in and finds shoes on the counter. But if you're keeping your area clutter-free, it's going to help your mind and your mental clarity also. Last, I want you to be proactive. So focus on one thing a month that you want to change in your life. And I know for me, the changes that I make, I usually try to have a specific category. So maybe if I really want to get a handle on my laundry, then home would be my focus for that month. If I really want to lose a few pounds before swimsuit season or whatever, I might pick health for 1 month, whatever it is. And I have found that having that focus, it doesn't mean that on day one you are already started and ready to go. But it does mean that during that month you are brainstorming ways to actively fix this pain point in your life, or you are actively looking for solutions. And for me, it seems like my changes usually end up happening in the middle to the last third of the month. So if at the beginning of the month I decide that I'm going to say, let's use the laundry example again, I'm going to focus on my laundry, it's usually about that maybe the 20th to the 25th of that month that I actually find a solution. So it's not so much that you're going to focus on this and day one, this is what you're going to do, and every day you're going to do this, but it's just something to focus on to help you be more organized. And if you make small changes throughout the year, think about a year from now, you're going to have 12 areas of your life that are more organized, that are going to help you to live out your life with more peace, help you to not be focused so much on all this extra chaos that's going around all around you, but you're going to see that you can be more organized by just taking tiny steps. I hope that these tips helped you, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.